Hey Algebra, in today's video we're going to be talking about equation of circles. Before we get started, I want to make sure you guys have the distance formula memorized and the midpoint formula memorized. Later on, we're going to incorporate these two formulas along with circles in a couple of your projects. Alright, so let's get started. So let's talk about equations of circles. Down here are your two equations, but to understand these two equations, let's go ahead and break apart parts of a circle. So to do that, we have this circle right here. And here, our center is going to be equal to h comma k, where h is our x component and k is our y component. And now, let's look at our radius r. So r is equal to radius. So now that we have broken apart the circle, we can start to understand where standard form comes from. So now we can write this information here. So h, our x component, goes in for h. So this is our x, this is our y, and there's our r squared. Okay. In this slide, let's look at a standard form equation that's given to us and see if we can come up with a circle that describes it. All right, so let's first look at what our center is going to be. So center is going to be equal to h comma k. Well, h in this case, h is equal to 2. And k is going to be equal to -1. Because when you usually looking at this, if we look at our standard form equation up here, we look at x minus h or y minus k. And so since we have y plus 1 right here, k must be a negative. And so our center is just going to be 2 comma -1. All right, so what's our radius? So we know 16, that's our r squared. So we have r squared is equal to 16. Now we have to take the square root of both sides, and we get that r is equal to 4. So radius is equal to 4. All right, now let's go ahead and plot everything. Our center is going to be over 2, down 1, and our radius is just going to be 4. So we draw out 4 places. And let's go ahead and make our circle. And there we have it. That's how we get a circle from the standard form equation. Now let's do the exact opposite in this one. Given a circle, what is the equation for it? So here, let's find what our center is. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. We go to the left 4 and down 2. So our center is going to be -4, comma -2. Where -4 is going to be our x coordinate, -2 is going to be our y coordinate. And so we know h is paired up with x, so h is equal to -4, and k is equal to -2. Okay. Now all we have left is to find what our radius is. So we do that just by counting over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So radius is going to be equal to 6. Now let's plug everything back into our equation up here. Okay. So we'll end up getting x plus 4, because 4 is negative, squared, plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 6 squared. And we know that 6 squared is 36, so we're just going to write our answer in that form. Oops. Okay, and that's our answer. So now on this last slide, let's look at a case where we're given a general form equation. Well, when we're given a general form, we have to change it into standard form, so we need to change it into this. So how do we do that? To do this, we're actually going to complete the square twice. I know a lot of you guys are thinking, oh, we're finally done with completing the square. Well, no. So let's do this. And to do it, let's subtract this 5 over first, and let's group all of our x's and y's. Oops. So we'll group x squared minus 4x and y squared plus 8y. And that's just going to be equal to 5. Cool. So now we're going to complete the square for the x's. We're going to complete the square for the y's. Right there, I left out that y onto that 8. So just make sure you have that written down. Okay, so let's complete the square for x. So here, we'll have x squared minus 4x plus something. And how do we get that something? To get that number, we take our b, which is negative 4, divided by 2, and square it. And so we'll have negative 4 over divided by 2, which is just negative 2. Square that, we'll end up getting positive 4. All right, and so let's do it for the y's. I'm going to leave this blank. Okay, so what are we filling this blank spot with? Well, it's the same thing. We're going to take 8. Where's that? 8 divided by 2. We're going to square that. So that's just going to be 4 squared, and we'll get 16. And this is equal to 5. However, we did add this 4 and this 16 to the left side, so what we do to the left side, we also have to do to the right side. So we're going to add 4 here, and we're going to add 16 here. All right, now let's factor these two right here. And when we factor, we're going to end up getting x minus 2 times x minus 2 plus y plus 4 times y plus 4. That's going to be equal to 25, which is 5 plus 4 plus 16. All right, so now we're just going to combine the x minus 2's and the y plus 4's to some square. So we'll have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 4 squared. And that's all going to be equal to 25. Well, does this look familiar? It should look exactly like our standard form equation. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Perfect. So what is our center and what is our radius? Well, here our center, this is going to be our h, this is going to be our k. And so center is equal to 2 comma negative 4, because this is a positive. And our radius r is going to be equal to 25. Oops. It's going to be equal to the square root 25. So r is equal to 5. And so here's our radius, and here's our center, and we have answered our original question. Okay, so for class tomorrow, I want you guys to find the center and radius of this standard form equation. If you guys have any questions dealing with this video, please come in and ask them, and we'll go over them as a class. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow.